Welcome along to this week's Netball Unlocked Big Interview, where we endeavour to go deeper with coaches, players and officials. For this latest instalment, we are so delighted to have our first player, Elmeré van den Berg of Manchester Thunder and the SPAR Proteas. Elmeré, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be the first player on the podcast.
No, we're so delighted to have you, aren't we, Paul?
Yeah, we did. We needed someone who's taken the league by storm. We wanted someone who's made an impact, and you've done just that. So as Chloe says, we're delighted to have you. We'll chat a little bit about your kind of journey to the Super League, but kind of first up, how's your season so far? How's it gone for you? You happy?
Since arriving here in Manchester after our Nations Cup, it just felt straight like I was at home. I think for me it was more because this is my second season being here at Manchester Thunder. So I knew all of the girls and all of that. So yeah, I really enjoy Thunder this year because my best friend from South Africa is also living with me. And we're playing for the same team. So yeah, this year actually feels like the time is going by very quickly. Where last year it felt like doesn't want to go. But yeah, it's such a nice environment to be in and to just enjoy and love netball again.
Tell us a little bit about being with Nicola Smith. I assume that's your best friend that you're talking about there. You guys live together. Who's in charge in the house?
So she's passenger princess. So I'm the one that drives us around the whole time. And yeah, we'll make turns to cook dinners in the evenings. But yeah, it's just so fun to have her around and to be with her and to have this whole experience with her. She's such a fun girl to be around and she loves a joke. So I will literally, when we get back from training, walk into a room and then she'll be dancing all by herself. Or yeah, she makes everything quite interesting. And yeah, we can have a great laugh together as well.
I think sometimes in sport, Elmeré, we can kind of forget that for a lot of athletes, they maybe move country and move to a different place. So how good has it been this year? I know you had Shadeen last year, but to have sort of someone who kind of knows you and knows your kind of your culture, your heritage, your backgrounds, all those sorts of things. How important is that to kind of have maybe a little piece of home in Manchester?
I think when you go away from home for such a long time, it's quite important to have that one friend with you just to speak Afrikaans to, or just to remind you a little bit of home. Because since we moved here, we've been having a barbecue every weekend, and that's a thing that our South Africans are used to do every single almost week. So yeah, we've been having traditional South African food, and last year me and Shadeen didn't live together, so it was difficult to prepare a meal that's South African for just me. Um, and yeah, just to speak Afrikaans and having Nicola here, we go to church every Sunday, so it almost feels like you're not actually in another country because we are so close and we know each other so well. We've been together for 3 months now since the Protea team and all of that. So every time when she thinks something, I would say it, or when I think something, she would say it. So we're in sync so well now. We just think the same things as well. But yeah, I think it's important for the mental aspect of being away from home for that long to also have somebody that reminds you of home, because there is video call and all of that to call your family, but they're not close to you for 6 months.
And I suppose you've probably also been a bit of a lift for Nicola being injured and not being able to start the season, and of course like not really get too much into your international period as well, because it wasn't that long into it that she broke her wrist. Tell us a little bit about how you've dealt with injury at Thunder, because it's been, we spoke to Karen and she talked about how amazing you guys have been sort of dealing with the challenge. It's not the best start to the season, I suppose, but what's the group been like kind of dealing with that?
So when Nicola came in with her wrist, they immediately put her on fitness. So while we were busy training, she would be running up and down the court. And then while we have a break and she's still running, the team would motivate her, because it's not nice to be training on your own, where everyone else is literally next to you, training together and having fun and making jokes and all of that. So we would motivate her while we have a water break. And with Lois and Paige, I haven't seen Lois that much yet, but yeah, I actually saw her last night and she looks good. She's on positive. And then Paige is also there cheering on from the sideline. You will also always hear her and her loud voice. And yeah, Nat, with her pregnancy, has been at every training so far. So she will help us attackers to do the finer detail and finishing off strongly. So yeah, even though with all the injuries, all of the players have been there to support us while they're on the sideline. And I know it's not nice for them to sit there, but just to have them in the environment the whole time is also nice, because then it feels like our little families together again. But yeah, we've been actually very positive regarding all the injuries that we have gotten this season so far.
You're in your second season now with Thunder. How impressed have you been with that sort of culture and identity that they've created? It seems to just make it so much easier for maybe the girls who weren't expected to step up, and I think sort of we kind of class like maybe some of the pathway athletes prospering as like a real success story. How impressed have you been with that side of things?
When I arrived here last year, so I was in university for 4 years, and because of everyone being a different age at university and everyone being on a different level of stage in their life, everyone is not that disciplined and committed to achieve something. And when I arrived here in Manchester last year, you just know when you step out on court what needs to be done and what you need to get done. And I feel like that's a very important aspect, because if you don't have that, nobody need to tell you that. You just know you need to do it. And I think with that, there comes a lot of discipline as well, because now you know you need to train, you need to gym, you need to do extra fitness and all of that. And just the little family that we have, everyone gets along so well. We can joke, we can laugh with each other. And I feel like that's also an important aspect of playing netball, because you need to be able to have fun on court as well, and it not to be just serious and everyone gets angry at each other because something is not working. And one thing that always stands out to me for Thunder is the fact that we never give up. Even though we struggle with something in training, we will figure it out till we get it right. So yeah, and no one's head just drops, and no one's negative if that happens. So yeah, that's one thing I really enjoy about Thunder, and just being yourself. You don't need to be someone else to fit in. And I thought when I signed for overseas, yeah, that maybe because I'm from a small town in the Free State in South Africa, that maybe I need to adjust something just to fit in. But yeah, that didn't need to happen. They accepted me just as I am or I was.
That's so nice to hear that
Yeah.
you can come here and have that experience, because like as Paul was saying earlier, like it is such you don't really know what you're going to come into until you're in it, and it's such a like long and intense. Like I think the Super League is really intense as well. But what's it like being coached by Karen Gregg as well? She's such a staple of this league and has produced some really amazing players. What do you rate of her as a coach?
I love her as a coach. She's absolutely phenomenal. Last year when I came here, she literally helped me so much to grow as a player as well. But yeah, she's a coach that can have fun, that can have a laugh with you, that can be strict if she needs to be strict, but also help you when you're struggling with something. So last night we needed a backup player, and she was a backup player. So she will run with us, catch the ball, throw the ball. So yeah, that's actually quite nice to have a coach like that. That you know the boundaries, but you can also laugh with her and make a joke with her, and she will also take it as a joke. So yeah, that's a great experience for me to have that as a coach as well.
And sort of having that kind of Karen's experience, obviously herself has been as an attacking player. Don't know if you've been able to see any Karen Gregg in action back in the day, but have you been able to feed off that as well as kind of not just the coaching side and the kind of team environment that she's created, but also that kind of one-on-one nature? You sort of touched on it a little bit there.
Yes. So she would literally, if she has something in mind that we need to set up in a game for the next round or anything like that, she will set up the structure so that we can train that thing to make us better as well. Because sometimes she will give us something and not all of us will understand what she wants from that. So she will literally do that one-on-one work with you to help you to better yourself regarding that aspect. And I think that also brings a lot of variety in your game. Not just to have that, I'm a standing shooter, I don't move, I just get eyeballs. Whereas now she helped me to start moving around the circle, because you can't just stand and hope to land in the 2-pointer if you have a super shot. So she helped us to get around that, how to move into it, how to play off it. So yeah, I think having Karen is something that, or is someone that will bring in a lot of variety in your game, because she has a lot of patience as well. So she will help you until you get it right.
Elmeré, you touched on the shooting there. We can't talk to you and not talk about how like how dominant you've been in already the first bit of the season. But South Africans generally, you guys seem to have this super shot thing down quite early. Tell us, what do you make of it? Do you like the super shot?
I actually like the super shot, yes. In the beginning, when they introduced it into the NSL, I wasn't sure what I thought about it, because for me, if it's a close game and you work hard and you're in front, now 10 points in front means nothing, because if we have the super shot, they only need 5 balls to be equal to you. And I think sometimes that takes the hard work out of a game as well, because you can be up by 20 and then you almost in a draw, and no one actually, someone that doesn't watch the game is like, yo, what happened? But yeah, I feel like that takes away the hard work that you put into a game to be in front by far. But yeah, when I started, that was my first initial thought of that. But when we started playing it, I actually quite enjoyed it, because now it comes in handy if we are behind as well. So yeah, I enjoy it. Sometimes we just need to know when to play it and not to play it, and when it's on and when it's not on. But yeah.
I think that feels like something that the whole league is going to get a little bit used to as we go, when to kind of go for it, maybe how to defend it, and all those sort of tactical changes that teams make. But for you yourself, you seem to have mastered how to nail it. Like how have you got that down?
When we played the Super Cup, so when I was in Commonwealth Games 2022, I shot from everywhere, and then I got an injury, and then I was scared to shoot from far. So then I only started shooting underneath the post, close range, because I was I was scared to take the ball from far. And now it kind of forced me to shoot from far, because that's the only way we can actually get a lot of points quickly. So when we played the first game, I actually surprised myself, because I wasn't used to shoot from far for like 2 years now. Um, but yeah, now I kind of enjoy it, and I'm training to shoot from far now a lot more than I did in the past.
I'm shaking my head because I'm just like, if you're out of your comfort zone, or like you're kind of redeveloping the skill that you lost, and you're already at this level, then that's a menacing thought for the rest of the league. I think that Elmeré, I'd love to. Paul and I spoke about this because we're both a bit nerdy, but we'd love to pick at your shooting action as well. Tell us how do you form that, and has it changed, and how much technique really goes into it? Because you've got quite an iconic, quite a specific way of shooting the ball.
So when I was younger, I wasn't actually very accurate. I will just hope and pray that it goes in every time I shoot. And then when I started to play with the Protea team, the first coach that we had actually helped me with my technique, because she said I was dropping my arm too far behind me, and that's why I'm not that accurate. So then she helped me to not drop my arm that far back, and from there it just I got it right, and then from there I started shooting like that. And then everyone will ask me where I'm aiming, but I can't tell them where I'm aiming because I'm just shooting. So, yeah.
It's super interesting because I have a daughter. She's a shooter herself, and I am never not blown away by the fact that she's only 13 years of age and she's very accurate, and the players that she plays against are all very accurate. So I kind of say, where are you aiming for? She tells me exactly the same thing. Just the net. Like I'm aiming to put it in. So um, Chloe spoke about your kind of shooting technique, but what about the way you practice, Elmeré? Like we've spoken a little bit about the evolution of the super shot. Do you find that you're more comfortable maybe on an angle or straight on, and how has that process maybe evolved for you from distance?
So when we were at the Protea team, Coach Norma and them, when they were our coaches, they had shooting cards that we got at the start of training, and then you need to shoot through the whole card before we started training. Um, and that also helped with the accuracy because you need to shoot with your eyes closed and you need to shoot stepping back, and you're only allowed to shoot far range and all of that. So that also helped with the practice of the shooting. And now, yeah, at Thunder, we will have where we bounce the ball, or we would have a feed the ball when we move into it. So we shoot from different areas in the super shot just to try to nail every angle and all of that in the circle. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's incredible. Wait, so you're practicing with your eyes closed?
Yes, that's quite difficult because you can't see. You're like hoping and praying that it goes in.
But I suppose they say that in theory it's muscle memory to the point where you should be able to do that. But I didn't know
Yeah.
people actually did that.
Yeah, my mom and dad, when they asked me, have you practiced your shooting? I was like, no, it's muscle memory. It's
Right.
fine, don't stress.
Oh well, Elmeré, you mentioned your parents there, and we'd love to actually go right back to the beginning as well, to your netball origin story, and find out a little bit about how it came into your life. Like, tell us what your childhood was like, and in the Free State, and how did you find netball?
So when I was in primary school, I don't know what age you start school, yeah. But I was 7 years old when we started primary school. And then you actually attempt a lot of sports. So I played netball, hockey, tennis. I did athletics. So, and then from there, I just played everything for the fun because I didn't know which one I liked most. And then when I got to high school, they said we needed to choose which one we wanted to play. So then I started to focus more on netball and athletics because I did triple jump and long jump, and I was a 200-meter athlete as well. And then I started focusing on my netball more. And we had a really great S&C coach at the school that I was. So yeah, and then I started when I was 16 years old. I got selected for the SA under 16 team, where we played against African teams. And then when I was 17, I got selected to play. It's an under 20 competition that we play also against Africa teams, and then in matric I got selected for the baby Proteas. And then after that I just decided I'm going to leave the athletics because I did athletics till I was matric at the age of 18. And then I stopped that, and when I went to university I got a bursary to play netball at the university and study there. So then I just focused completely on netball, and then yeah, just all the doors opened for me to where I am today.
Were you always a shooter, Elmeré? I often speak to players, and many say, "Well, I used to be a goalkeeper, and now I'm a shooter, and I was a centre, and now I'm a goal defence." Were you always a shooter?
So what actually happened was when I was grade 1 and 2, so 7 and 8 years old, I was a goal defense. And then when I went to grade 3, when I was 10, the coach that coached us there didn't know what position I played. And when she asked me, I was like, no, I'm a goal attack. And from there, I started playing goal attack.
You manifested into a goal attack. I love that.
I hate defense. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, hey.
And you need to anticipate where your goal attack is running. Now when I'm goal attack, I can run wherever I want to, and you need to follow me.
Yeah,
So
someone said to me it's like being the master of your own destiny. And I was a defender and I much preferred like being the judge of someone's destiny rather than being the one that would decide my destiny. That's it's one of the things that you just kind of as you were telling that story there, like, and then I got selected, and then I got selected, and then I got selected. That all happened so quickly because you're 23 now. How did you process that as it was happening? Like that this netball sport that you were playing was actually, you know, you were going to go represent your country. Did you, you know, how was it important to you that you got to that level? Did it blow you away? Were you comfortable in that role? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
so when I was under 16, when I played for the under 16 SA team, it was quite all of the people that were selected actually was close friends. So we actually enjoyed going on tour together and all of that. And we went to Lesotho in South Africa, in the middle of South Africa. And that was actually such a fun experience because it's not the food that we used to eat or the place that we are used to in South Africa. So that was, and we didn't have warm water. So that's actually quite a fun experience to have um, like that. And then when I was 17 and we went to Botswana, it was also, we stayed in a hostel with no bedding. So it's literally the African experience. And I think to have that experience at such a young age, where you think everything just works. Like when we grew up in South Africa, everything works. You have electricity, you have everything that you want to have. And then going to an African country that doesn't have that. But yeah, I feel like I didn't expect anything to happen that quickly. When I was 16 years old, I actually played netball for fun. And when I was matric, I wanted to stop playing netball to go and study, and then I wanted to work. And then it just happened at the end of that year, I got selected to play for the baby Proteas. And from there, everything just, yeah, I wanted to stop playing netball so many times, and then just something big happens, and then I can't stop. So yeah, I think like this needs to be probably my career because otherwise I would have stopped playing netball a long time ago.
Probably. I think you're doing quite a good job so far, Elmeré. Um, so I was going to actually ask you, do you remember when you actually started loving it? But you kind of said there sometimes you didn't always love netball. Do you kind of why do you think that sometimes? Is it just that maybe because it is your life and because it has been such a big part of what you've done over the last sort of maybe 7-8 years, like that it can sometimes become a bit intense?
So when I was at university, I missed out on all the student stuff that the university had for us. So we have something that's called RAG, like it's a fun festival with lots of singers and all of that, and we weren't allowed to go. And that's the one thing that makes university university. And the netball players weren't allowed to go. And then I missed classes at university because of South African netball stuff that we needed to do. And I think sometimes an environment in a netball team also plays a big role in if you're having fun or if you're enjoying it or not. And when I was at university, so my first year was the COVID year, so everything was locked down. We didn't actually have classes or anything like that. And then my second year, when we got back to the university, um, the environment there was just not nice because there was a lot of people that would gossip behind your back, or they will sit next to you and gossip about you. And I'm not a fan of that, because if you want to say something to me, just say it to my face, because that's the person I am. I'm not going to hide something from you. So yeah, I think that it was just the environment at university that I didn't enjoy. And then when I came to Thunder, I immediately fell back in love with netball. And since then, I really enjoyed it. Oh, and I actually got an injury right before the year before World Cup. I got an injury and I needed to get an operation. So I was out for 6 months before World Cup. And then I kept on struggling with it. The pain never gone away. And after World Cup, I got another operation. So I think it's just a lot of stuff that happened in a short time. But then I came to Thunder, and then, yeah, I fell back in love with it.
Yeah, you need the environment to be right, to be yourself in it and to be
Yes.
your best. Yeah, I think that's really important to talk about, I think, in netball, because it is like that team dynamic is so important, but also like people are happy. When they're happy, they play their best sport. I think Paul and I, we speak to a lot of different athletes. That's certainly a theme that I find that actually it's such an important, athletes are not one dimensional. Like you need that balance to be spot on, to be the best person that you want to be.
Yes, I agree with you. And if you can't have that, I can train and I can have fun and I can have family time and all of that, then something somewhere is going to be affected negatively. So yeah.
You mentioned international netball as well. There, Chloe and I were actually recorded sort of a few of these podcasts now, and every time we're talking about someone, it seems like we're talking about Rolene, we're talking about Nicole, we're talking about you. What are South Africa doing so well at the moment that is producing these kind of goal attack and goal shooters?
I think we are a very young team at the SPAR Protea team currently. The oldest person now, I think, is 27. So we're actually a very young team coming in. And um, the coaches we have now, it's nice to have coaches that have confidence in you and what you can do. And I think that also builds on the shooters that we currently have, because if you have a coach that's like, if you shoot one miss, I'm going to bench you, you will never get the confidence in a shooter, or the shooter won't even have the confidence to step out on court and play a good game because you're so scared you're going to miss one and she's going to take you off. And I think with that, Coach Jenny and Coach Zan really actually puts their trust in you and what you can deliver as a player. And they will help you as well when you struggle with something or anything like that. And they will motivate you if you maybe shoot one or two miss. And yeah, I think that's a really good aspect to have in a coach, because that's also what broke my confidence in shooting. So when I shoot one miss, they take me off court. And that's also, then you're also scared to shoot because you're so scared you're going to shoot miss. But yeah, Coach Jenny and Coach Zan really knows how to handle a situation, because I know a shooter must always shoot in, but there's going to be sometimes one that you miss. So yeah.
I think that's really interesting, because it is remarkable, really, that the age of that team is, as you've said, the oldest is 27. I think that is unreal. But also, like, you've already done a Commonwealth Games and a World Cup. What were those experiences like, being so young? And the Netball World Cup, of course, was in Cape Town, so you're at home as well. How did you manage that as an experience? Like, what memories have you got of it?
So I was always the youngest in the team, the baby in the team, because when I played Commonwealth Games, I was 21 years old. Um, so when we came to England, we had a month camp before we went into Commonwealth Games, and then we had Lenise was still playing, Pumzan Bongi was still playing. So it's there's people that you look up to when you're little, and now you're playing netball with them. So you actually need to step up to be able to be as good as them, because you're coming in as a youngster and a baby. And yeah, so the one memory I I have of the Commonwealth Games was so Nicola was also with me in the team there, and after the whole Commonwealth Games, we went out with Ziggy Burger to one of the clubs in Birmingham. And then the next morning at 6, we went back to the hotel. So we were partying the whole night after Commonwealth Games. And then we flew back to South Africa that evening. And World Cup was just the whole experience of representing your country in your home country, with all the South African fans being there and all of that. That's the one thing I will always remember, to be able to experience that. Well, my first World Cup in South Africa.
That's pretty cool. You touched on some of the coaches there. You've also kind of had some experience with Norma Plummer, who I think everybody who knows netball knows or has heard stories about. Norma, what was Norma like or what has Norma been like to work with?
I actually enjoyed working with Norma. She's She doesn't say a lot, but when she says something, you need to listen. And she will look and see and evaluate, and then she'll say something. And she has such a soft way of saying something that's actually very harsh, which I quite enjoyed, because if someone did something wrong, she wouldn't shout at you. She would address it in a way that you need to listen, but she's not mean to you. And the way her coaching style was very interesting for me. The first session we had with her is literally we threw balls for an hour.
Wow.
And I was like, we literally 10 months before a World Cup and we're throwing balls. But then she actually said to us as well, if you can't throw a ball, then you can't play netball. And I think sometimes we forget that we actually need to focus on the basics first before we can do extraordinary things.
That's so funny. Because I think a lot of people have memories of the 2019 World Cup when South Africa really weren't necessarily the favourites, but then came out and took on Jamaica. And I remember hearing at the time that Norma saw them in warming up just before the game, and she sort of said, "We've got this." Like she just sort of knew. She's quite intuitive as a coach, actually. Like she's reading a bigger picture, isn't she?
When we lost against Uganda at the Commonwealth Games, so she was the mentor coach for the coaches we had that time. And then Uganda was celebrating in the other room, and we could hear them celebrating. And she walked in, she was like, "Listen, do you hear that? That could have been you." And we all sat there, was like, yes, that could have been us. So that's the way of, she knows we can do it. And then if we don't execute the job, then you actually need to actually feel bad as well. It's not just, oh, we lost, we can move on. So,
You have
yeah.
to feel it.
Yes, you have to feel it.
But as before we get into sort of a couple of other bits and pieces, you're a team that are very much growing. You're a team that I think most people think could really cause some surprises. Has the ambition changed now for sort of the Proteas as a team who can maybe challenge for those gold and silver medals? I mean, as athletes, you will have always thought you could do it, but I think now the outside world look at you guys as maybe major contenders.
I think the culture that we have built with the new coaches that we have is actually quite solid. Because they came in, Coach Jenny have been a coach for the Jaguar team in South Africa for the past 7 years, and nobody could have won her. So she's really a good coach, and the way she approaches something is also really in her own way, but so good. And I think the foundation that in our first training camp that we had, it was like, what do you want to achieve? How are you going to achieve it? And what's the bigger picture? And she always starts with the end in mind. So she was like, what's your plan for the next World Cup? That was 4 years ahead. And then she built the culture based on what our plan and what we wanted to achieve in 2027. And since then, she's been training and working with us with that plan in mind. So yes, and no one in our team likes to lose. So we work hard to win. And when we played against England, the first game that we played the Nations Cup, we were actually so surprised by what we could have done, because at some stage we were our 8 goals. And they were like, wow, we can actually do this. So yes, I think it's just to actually also recognize that England and New Zealand and Australia and all of that teams are also same person, they're also people. We just need to know and experience how to play against them all.
Elmeré, here's the great question. Who is your least favourite defender to come up against? Internationally, you can anyone in the world.
I would say, from my past experiences now, Shamira Sterling.
It makes sense.
Yeah, that would be hard work. Yeah, that would be hard work.
She's really, you don't know where she's going now. You can hold your space and then she'll get to that ball some way or another. So I think you really need, when I played against her, I really needed to think out of the box to outplay her. Because she just got to the ball. So I was like, how the hell did you get that?
I don't think that's the first time we're going to hear that this season, Chloe. To be fair, we've already heard that 1 or 2 times on film.
Yeah.
Elmeré, you're obviously a player, but also off the court. I believe this is thanks to Chloe's comprehensive notes. You're a teacher as well. How do you combine the two things? How do you enjoy the two things?
So I finished my studies in 2023, and then last year I actually helped them end of 2023 with the first team preseason, the school that I teach at, with the netball, and then they phoned me last year March while I was here in England and told me they have a job for me to as a part-time teacher at the school, and I was like, yeah, sure. I'm coming back July, and then for 6 months. I'm just at home and training, so I might get bored. So then when I arrived at the school, the school started the Tuesday. I landed the Tuesday in South Africa. So I only went to school on the Wednesday. And then they called me in. They were like, no, we have a full-time position for you. You have 16 classes and all of that. And I actually quite enjoy the children a lot. You get some very interesting characters. So yeah, but now when I'm here, they have a temporary teacher in my place, and when I go back, I fall back into the teaching. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I wanted to be a teacher since I was a little girl.
Oh, would you ever consider teaching netball as a coach?
So at the school that I work now, because I'm only arriving at the end of the year, because our years start in Jan and ends in December, I'm arriving in the middle of the year, and then most of the netball season is basically done. And with the netball, that I'm also away for a long time, and some stages there's not actually, I can't work with the team and be away for a month and try to do good with my team. So I will sometimes do some individual shooting classes with some of the girls if they come and ask me. And I did some primary school coaching as well for some girls while I was there. But yeah, I would love to be a netball coach.
So netballer, teacher, and coach, and that. Is that Elmeré done? That's what you're happy with, or is there more to it than all of that?
I wanted actually to study physiotherapy because I love the human body and the injury side and to treat injuries and all of that. But I was too lazy to study in school because I needed sport. But I did my sports massage course last year while I was here in England. And I want to do my Reformer Pilates course as well. And
Okay.
with a for in the future,
Okay.
I want to open up a studio where sports massage and Pilates and rehab and all of that for sport. But yeah, I first need to stop playing netball before I can do that because I need to be there to be able to run that.
Does Nicola get any free massages?
She comes here in my room and she's like, can you please massage my legs? Can you please massage my arms? Then I'll massage her, yeah.
Excellent.
Um,
Got to get the practice in, I suppose.
yeah.
And with her wrist that was in a cast for 6 weeks, it was quite stiff as well. So then she'll walk in here, she's like, my wrist is stiff, can you please massage me? And then she'll sit here and then I'll massage her wrist to loosen up the muscles. So yeah.
Elmarie, there's we that's the future, I suppose, that you're hoping for. But on a netball front, do you have any personal dreams, ambitions that you'd like to achieve while you're still playing?
I would love to play in the SSN, to go there out there and experience that professional league that they have there, because I think that's quite a tough league. So yeah, I really want to enjoy, go and experience that in Australia as well, and then hopefully to play another World Cup.
How obviously here in the UK we're trying to build towards that kind of SSN type of product, if you like. Where do you see netball in the UK now? This is a couple of years you'll have been with us. How do you see the sport growing and developing?
I think coming in from South Africa, being in the UK, it's already you play like a really tough, high performance game every weekend. That also helps you develop as a player, because in South Africa, you will play a league for 2 weeks and then you'll have off for 3 months and then you'll come back and play another league. Whereas here, for 6 months straight, you're in season. So you need to be able to manage your fitness, build on your gym work, and play netball every weekend, or every Saturday after Saturday after Saturday. And I think that also helps to develop the players regarding that. And I think um, having the imports in teams also makes the league better and greater, because you need to actually analyze everyone to know what their strong points is, to know what their weaknesses is. And yeah, I think that also helps a netball player to think at another level, because now you actually need to sit with Huddle in front of you and see, okay, that's a strong point. She likes to fly, and how are you going to set up? So it's a constant mindset of growing, because you can't get stagnant. Because then you'll just be complacent the whole time and no one. I hope that's the right English now. That's a lot
Yeah,
of
no, that's very
big
good.
words that I gave. But yeah, I think just to have a growing mindset when you go or come to NSL, even SSN or ANZ, um, to have that growing mindset, and to grow as a player as well.
I think a lot of South African fans would be delighted to hear that you'd like to go to SSN. It's been it was a little period where South Africa didn't have any players in SSN, and obviously Saint-Marie has had this breakout international season and is over there. Do you think there might be a South Africa takeover coming in SSN?
We'll wait. I have to wait and see for end of the season to see what is coming up.
Got to put it out on the court though. Hey, first
Yes.
that's the secret, right?
They first need to see me before I can. Yeah.
Elmeré, you've obviously evolved a little bit. Maybe this season we've seen you play more goal attack than perhaps we expected, and maybe injuries have forced that. And you mentioned a little bit about enjoying the freedom of playing goal attack. Do you see yourself very much as a sort of two-position player, or is there one that you prefer?
So when I was in school, I played goal attack 3 years in a row, because when I made the first team, I only played goal attack. So I was used to playing goal attack, and then when I got to university, I started playing shooter more. Um, and then when I was coached with Norma as well, she also played me a lot more goal attack than goal shooter. But yeah, I quite enjoy playing goal attack, because you can move and create and run a bit. And yeah, so I would see myself as a goal attack goal shooter as well. But I think my game grew more on goal shooter now than it did on goal attack, because I haven't played goal attack in such a long time now. But yeah, being here and playing goal attack is actually quite fun for me again, and it helps with the fitness for the lungs.
Yeah, very, very true.
And I
Yes.
guess you've got Anya Williams at the moment behind you. She's only 18, but we can see a talent there coming. How has it been sort of, I guess, stepping into that role that you probably weren't expecting, where you're right now the most senior person in that Thunder front end? How's it been? Are you enjoying it?
Actually, yeah, I quite enjoy it. I think I just keep on telling them just to communicate, because we don't know each other that well yet. Because this is the first season that me and Emma and India and Anya all are playing together. And it's the wing attack that actually needs to feed the ball as well. So yeah, I think just to keep on communicating and actually explaining and helping them where to place the ball or anything like that, just to make the job for them easier as well. Because I know I have a very, very unique way of holding my space, and not everyone can see where I'm holding my space and where I want the ball. So yeah, I think it's just to be open to communication, and to each other needs to tell each other what's happening and how it's, how you want it and where you want it and all of that.
It's a good job you got the stickiest fingers I think I've seen in a really long time. You can take a ball, like, it's amazing.
I think it's just because my hands are very big.
That helps, I suppose. It helps. Um,
Yes.
Elmeré, before we wrap up, I think Chloe's got a couple of questions from a few listeners via Instagram.
I do. These are from the fans, Elmeré. We put a question out asking for some things to put to you. So Well, we're just talking about shooting there. What goes through your mind? How do you calm yourself before a super shot?
I would catch the ball and then I'll just breathe and then I'll take the shot. And then I have a thing where with my right hand I'll slap my quad and then I'll move on from that.
Very good.
I think I've seen that slap actually. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Okay. If you could change one thing about netball, what would it be?
That's a very difficult question, actually.
Big picture stuff, that.
Yo, I actually don't know.
Okay.
That's all right. That's fine.
You can have the
I don't think I would want to change anything though.
There you go. That's an answer. You don't have to
Because I
change
can't
it.
say wing attacks can go into the circle because that would just be absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone can't be allowed everywhere because that would also be very crazy. So yeah, I think I don't want to change anything.
And here's the last one. Who do you think the favourites to win the Super League are?
The favorite what?
Who do you think the favourites to win the league, this year league, is?
I would say Manchester Thunder.
I think that's the right answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
We came in with a goal to win and we want to win.
Karen Gregg is listening, nodding along. Yes, that's the right answer.
Yes.
Perfect. Uh-oh. Well, Elmeré, thank you so much for your time. It's amazing. You've given us such an insight into who you are and what you're about and the netball that you're playing.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
No, thank you
Yes,
for
all right.
talking. It's been brilliant. Really, really great. Fascinating to hear. Super cool.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.